All right, by now, the Fearless Fun Analysis right now is editing. I'm uploading that right away. Looks like we got another minute or so for the edit to complete, and then I'm gonna upload it, and that'll be up in another 15 minutes, and then I'm just gonna put that right up. Yeah, I had to really break down what was going on with that caliber of class. Remember that IT awards that I was telling y'all, with all the butter biscuit boule kind of, the Tom Joiners types and all them? Yeah, that class. Matter of fact, I think, you know what I should do? This might take another 45 minutes though for me to do it. There's a video out there about some the boule class, the sellout class of it was some black folks in like what they used to call the Black Beverly Hills. They didn't want nothing to do with black folks from Watts, California. Now you see how that worked out. But anyway, they didn't want anything to do with them. So it was that class of black folks. They were speaking, and they were speaking against the black folks that lived in Watts, California. Now, as we all know, and we got to give it up for the West Coast, because I believe it was 65. Okay, there it goes right there. So I'll save that. 1965, I believe there was a Watts riots in 1965, and in 92, I think there was the riots in Watts, but the 8 Trey gangsters kicked it off on Florence and Normandy. You see what I'm saying? I think it kicked off in Florence and Normandy. So, what I'm saying in regards to that is, you know, you had that group, that same group that I was detailing, far as the Fearless Fund Analysis. When I went at the end and I was going in talking about them lawyers, talking about all these black lawyers we got, especially with them linked up with the Black Caucus and all of that caucus stuff. I'm telling you, them Negroes are the worst. They the worst type of black folks, because they got all this access to money, and you would think money, power, and influence, I'm not even gonna say wealth, but they have influence. They have some kind of influence within that class, and they have yet to introduce a serious lawsuit that's equivalent to Ed Blum. When you read that full document, when I was showing, it's like 90 pages. I wanted to go through everything, but Ed Blum shut the Fearless Fund down just using the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which was supposed to be for us. He used it against us. And you haven't had not one of those lawyers that has went out of the way to shut that down. So this will be my 4th video that I'm gonna do. I was gonna do it on here, but it's easier for me to stop and start. So this one will be called Storytime, Lost in Burnsville. So around, it probably was anywhere between, well, let's see here. It could have been 2002. It could have been after 2003. It definitely wasn't 07. It could have been 06, but I'm not exactly sure. But I don't think I had an apartment then. So it was not 07, and I don't think it was 06. It was probably between 02 and 05. So I was riding the bus, still kind of hustling off my little mixtapes and stuff like that. And I had met this Cuban girl. And she looked black, but you know, she said she was Cuban and whatnot. So we started kind of talking. She shopping with me. And she stayed way out in Burnsville. And so we started kind of talking. And you know, I think we started talking on the phone for a little bit or whatever. And so then she invites me to go kick it, you know, and hang out, because I guess she had her own apartment and stuff. But man, this was crazy. This whole thing, I didn't even know black folks lived out in Burnsville. So I think what ended up happening was man, it was nuts. It was nuts. So I think what ended up happening was, I went downtown, and remember, so this had to been, I don't know if it was 03, because I would have been in IPR and stuff like that. So I don't think I would have around that time. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think it was. Let me think here. Because I'm trying to think if it's around the time when I bought a new CD burner at CompUSA. And I started hanging out in St. Paul. But you know what? It could have been, because this is going to kind of tie into my MySpace story. But I'm going to do a separate MySpace. We're going to talk about, the technology we was using, like Black Planet, MySpace. McGinty wasn't really a thing. Eventually Facebook, but that wasn't really So, man, this had to been, this probably was 02. Or, I don't think it was 03. I don't know. It was within those four years. But anyway, so we meet downtown, and I think I had a backpack. So I had a backpack full of my merch, my product. So there's like one last bus that goes to Burnsville. Or around that time, they don't run like that. So around this time, it was late. I remember it being late on the bus. So I guess all these black folks kind of live out in that little area. You know what I'm saying? They live out in that area somewhere. And so I remember it was like an express bus, or it was a bus that was late. I just remember it was dark. You see what I'm saying? So we must have met downtown at a certain time. I get on the bus with her, and she gets on the bus with some other people. It was some of her people, or it was something going on. I don't know what it was, but I can't remember everything. But somehow, we get back to the house. But it was like people that all lived in the area. I don't think they really had cars. So I think it was a hilly area, and it was apartments. I didn't even think they had apartment buildings out there in Burnsville. I thought it was completely residential, because I did not go out there around that time. I had never been out to Burnsville, because there's no reason. Burnsville's way in the hundreds is way up. It's in the hill. You're going up 35. You see what I'm saying? So I get into the house. I set my backpack down, whatever, and we talking, and she got. But all these people that was around her, they were like her friends, or I don't know. So now, had I would have known that, I don't be in no house with a whole bunch of people. So I guess they having damn near like a little party or something. I think somebody goes to get some liquor or something. I don't think I might have had a bottle. I might have brought one. So I don't know. So what we do know, I don't think I was drinking at that time. To be honest, I don't think I was. So I know that I was older than 19. I know that much. I don't think I was 25 yet, though. I don't think I was 25 yet. I probably wasn't. So now, man. So I'm just sitting there talking and doing this. Okay, I now remember. There was an argument on the bus. And because I'm such a neutral party, like I know her, but I don't know her like that. They getting into it. Like it's damn near about to be a fight. They arguing about this and that and there. And so eventually it spills into the apartment or something like that. So now they arguing. Stuff going on, whatever. We get into the apartment. It's another argument about something. I don't even remember what it was about. Eventually the police got called. So it's late. I'm not saying anything. I'm just sitting there, and then the police show up. Everybody's talking about what they ain't got, this, that, and the third. Oh, I ain't got nothing, this, that, and the third. And some people was drinking, so they just kind of going off and doing this and doing that and all this. And so I'm like, I'm not saying anything. They pleading their case to the police. I don't, I didn't talk to the police, so they start talking to the police. They act like they was gonna cuss the police out and this, that, and the third. So the police, we know what they do. They not worried about the people that's acting a fool. They walk past them. They say, okay, hem them up. They go to me. My backpack's kind of sitting there. They're like, you real quiet. Everybody else is getting all loud and rambunctious and act, but you haven't said anything. Who are you? You see what I'm saying? Because the company there, I know when I'm in a certain surrounding and I'm outnumbered, like I don't really know these folks like that. I shouldn't have been out there in the first place. But I was invited by her and I'm thinking we gonna hang out, whatever. So everybody in the room prior to the police, they were looking kind of weird because I wasn't really saying nothing. I wasn't saying nothing to nobody. I was just kind of, so police, they go directly to me and they demand for my ID. So I give it to them. And they're like, yeah, we gotta worry about you because you ain't saying anything. So I'm like, what am I supposed to say? Like, what are you doing out here? I got invited. She invited me. Okay, what you got in that bag? Mixtapes. They said, mixtapes, what's that? I said, oh, I do DJ mixtapes and all that. They're like, oh, whatever, okay. Any drugs, any guns? No. I wouldn't even know where to get that stuff at, officer, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just kind of telling them. They take my ID. They must have gone back to the car, run the ID. All the loud, rambunctious folks, they must have already got calls on them before. So they cuff some of them up and take them out. They grab a couple more other guys and some girls and stuff, and they take everybody. So now it's me and her. So we, I think, like I say, we were the only two people. So there's no express bus, so I can't leave. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't going to call one of my friends and be like, hey, man, I'm way out here. What you doing way out there? Like they going to be like, what's going on? So there wasn't really nobody for me really to call to get a ride. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that it would just be us, hanging out. So, I wake up in the morning or something like that. And I guess some of our other friends eventually come by. And like I say, I'm selling my mixtapes. I might have had t-shirts and socks at the time too. I used to, we used to order a lot of that stuff. So, yeah, I was stranded. I was kind of stranded. You know what I'm saying? And what's crazy is, before I had a car, that's another reason why I start adamantly trying to learn how to drive. And shout out to my homie Osbu, because he would always, when he was in like Iraq, he would come home after like a tour or something. He would always take me to drive in the parking lot. And the last time he took me to drive, it was like wintertime or whatever. So every time he did a tour in Iraq, or when he would come back, he would always learn me how to drive. He was the only person that really did it besides my uncle that actually brought me out to try to learn how to drive. And so one thing that I ended up doing was, that's why I was so adamant. Once I got a car, I held on to that. And I always wanted to have several because I had a fear of not being able to get where I need to be. And if I get into a situation where, I want to leave. And when you can't do that, when you're not driving, it just makes stuff hard to be able to do that. Because you got to wait on everybody else. And I got tired of just waiting and doing all that. So it became something where it was just, so, long story short, I woke up, and I trying to think. I find the bus stop. I take it back, and I think she called me another time, like she, really want to, kind of hang out and stuff like that and do stuff. And I told her, I said, that kind of put me in a weird predicament with it, the whole predicament. There's a whole lot more. Now that might be a patron thing. You see what I'm saying? But there's a whole lot more. So, but basically, man, she she you know, she was apologetic, like, man, I ain't think it was gonna be that. But see, those kind of situations kind of make, because anything could have happened. And there's times where I had you know, felt uncomfortable, because you get to someone's house and then they got other people going on. So now it starts feeling kind of backdoorish. That was even before the term backdoor was even used. It, you know, but I got to the point where, you know, and you can't drop locations back then. And you did tell somebody where you at. Like if you was trying to do something to somebody, that you did tell them, okay, they're here, or I got them over here. But you couldn't say where, you know, the phones didn't have that technology. Not that we knew of. You couldn't personally do that. Something like the FBI or like the phone carrier, they could probably find your location. We couldn't do that. You know, we couldn't do that. So the other situation that happened, like I called it Lost in Burnsville. The next situation, I had a homeboy. He was messing with these Latino chicks. This happened to me twice, dealing with him. He was messing with these Latin chicks. One is Cuban, one was like Mexican. So now, this time, I could tell this was probably prior to 03, maybe, because so it could have been 02, but it was between 02 and 05. I definitely think it was. Matter of fact, I don't even know if it was 03 because I was at IPR. So this probably would have been, it could have been 01, but I think it was 02. I think it was 02, I'm gonna be honest, because again, he met them over south. It was a lot of Latino. It was like a lot of little Cuban chicks or Latino, you know, chicks that would be over south, but they look black. We saw that around those times in the early 2000s. So he's hollering at one of them. They buying some CDs and stuff from him, and so he introduced me to her homegirl. I met her. I wasn't really the most, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't interesting. It wasn't so much interesting to me. But what ended up happening was they stayed in Inver Grove Heights. And we went out there, and I think they came and picked us up or something. I did not want to go. I was trying to figure out any kind of way to avoid going. Man, I got to tell you the north side situation, but that won't fit on this story. That one was crazy. So I'm sitting in the living room, and they out hanging out in another room or whatnot. So I'm kind of chilling. I'm really not. I really want to leave. I don't want to be there. So Mexican chick, eventually she gets up and she gets ready to go. And I was kind of thinking like, well, damn, man, drop me off. So I'm sitting up, and in this, you know, the living room, they ain't really got no place where you could kind of lay down or do it. I mean, you could be on the couch or whatnot, but I mean, they really didn't have nothing up in there. So they go in the room. Now I'm sitting here by myself in the living room. I'm the ultimate third wheel because the other girl left, and I want to go. But so at some point, she comes back late, hanging out, doing, you know, whatever. You know, it ain't my woman, so I ain't really tripping. So now she must have been drinking and doing all this, and now she wants to kind of, and I'm like, man, I want to go, I want to leave. She's mad now because I'm not paying her no mind. So now, but she said, well, I ain't gonna take you home then. And I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm really unhappy now because I didn't want to be there in the first place. I think it was some other chicks who was trying to, you know, I had other things to do. I didn't plan on being out there all night. So he jumps up, says something like, matter of fact, I could see around what time. Let me see what time this is. All right. So MySpace came out in 03. That's when it launched. So it's quite possible that this could have it's possible that this case could have been in '03. You see what I'm saying? It's quite possible. Because dudes was starting to meet women on MySpace. Then eventually, let me see, when did The Planet come out? The Planet, when did Black Planet start? That came in high school. Yeah, that was 99. So Black Planet was before that. MySpace was the upgrade. Like, it was interactive. Like, you could put music on there. You had artists from Minneapolis, and they had some pretty good pages. And dudes was getting discovered off of MySpace, believe it or not. Before there was the gram or none of that stuff, it was, you know, it was a, let me see here. So we'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute. We'll get into that. Maybe not right now, but so eventually, now if they don't take us home, I think the Mexican girl had a car. I think she don't take us home. We had to jump on a bus over by their apartment building. It was in the West Side, or it was in Inver Grove Heights. So it was a long ass bus. It had to go through St. Paul. I don't even remember how the hell we got home. But I remember we took some bus and then we transferred and did whatever we did. And then, you know, and so I was kind of like, I told my guy, I said, man, don't have me hanging out with her like that. So then there was another time. He tried to get me to hang out with him. I think, was this the first time? Was it the second time I was in Inver Grove? But he tried to get me to hang out with them. It wasn't no money involved for me, so I really didn't want to go. He begged me to go. They were on the way. They had a car this time. They were on the way to pick him up. The Mexican girl thought I was going, so she just kind of knew, like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get him. I was kind of like, I ain't want to go back out there again and be stuck. So we on 33rd and Clinton. We on 33rd and Clinton at this time. 34th and Clinton, or 33rd. They on the way. Now, I had other plans. I had some other plans. So he like, oh, you know what? I'm about to get dressed. I'm about to jump in the shower and do this, do that, and the third. I bet. So he's like, man, you staying? I said, yeah, I think I'm gonna stay, man. I think I'm gonna stay. So I think somehow the Mexican girl had my number. She calls, hey, tell your friend we on the way or whatever like that. He ain't answering his phone. And I'm like, how you get my number? Oh, well, so-and-so gave it to me. I'm like, oh. So I'm just not feeling her because she's kind of like one of these, I don't know, she kind of act like a white girl a little bit. But I mean, you know, she was being herself, but she kind of reminded me of a white girl. She don't speak her own language or whatever. I guess that wasn't, you know. So now, so now, I think my homie's taking a shower or something like that. So now I'm getting impatient because now they really they trying to mess up my day. But he don't want to be a third wheel, so he wants me to come with. They on the way. He's still in the shower. He doing something. He probably taking a you know what. And I'm like, so eventually I get impatient. I start knocking on the door. What's going on? I'm still in here. Hey, bro, my stomach hurt. He said, what? He said, well, I'm in the bathroom. I said, I know. My stomach hurt. I made up some excuse. I don't know what it was. My stomach hurt, bro. Because he really wasn't trying to hear the fact that I really wasn't feeling a friend. I did not want to be there. I did not want to go. I'm already over south. I could just hop on the 20, walk down to Lake Street, hop on the 21, and go home. You know what I'm saying? Hop on the 21 to the 19 or the 7. Sometimes Cedar and Lake would get a little crazy at night, so it's a little less going on over there by Rainbow, where the 7 and where Wendy's is. You know where you know the police station got burned down. Over there, it's a little quieter. The 19 where Cedar and Lake is, you know, you got a lot going on. So sometimes, I mean, at night, I didn't really like standing there that much because I ain't have no weapons. If I would have had something on me, I would have been just fine. But sometimes I would, depending on where I'm going and how late it is. Yeah, I was, I didn't have an innate fear of being out late at night, unless I was on Broadway or on an off street. You see what I'm saying? I didn't like being on Broadway. Now, Fremont wasn't that bad, but we used to move around all hours of the night, depending on whatever it is. If I'm going to see some chick or if I'm going to make some money or whatever, there was no time. But Cedar, I think what it was Cedar and Lake got the graveyard, and it always creeped me out because I always thought somebody was gonna jump up behind my back in the graveyard. I don't know, get some little horror movie type stuff. So, hey man, just wait on me real quick, bro. I'm gonna take a shower. You come in, use the bathroom. Nah, man, my stomach hurt, man. I could be home in 30 minutes or whatever. He said, come on, bro. I'm like, man. So now, he's like, so then I say, I'm leaving. So he can't do nothing. He's still in the bathroom. You see what I'm saying? So I leave. Oh man. 20 minutes later, I get a call. I'm on the 21, or probably getting off the 21, and then getting ready to hop on the 7 or the 19, or I probably took the 7. That way, if he calls and says, "Hey, you still on Lake Street?" Or it might have been a 19, because the 19 don't come as often. The 7's slower, but the 19 comes faster, and that way, I'm out of the vicinity. So I ain't want to be lying, but he just wasn't trying. Nobody was trying to hear it. Nobody cared that I didn't want to go. So I jump up. He calls, "Hey, they here." Who? What you talking about? Man, they here. Oh, girl trying to holler at you. She trying to. I'm gonna put you on the phone. Nah, bro. I'm about to. I'm almost at the crib. All right, we about to come scoop you up or whatever. I'm like, man. So then I make something else up, or I don't even think it was making. I probably was going to see. So I said I got other plans. So she gets on the phone. Hey, we got some liquor and all this and this, that, and the third. That I'm trying to see you. And I'm like, oh, I got other plans. Oh, she gets pissed because they don't like a decent looking broad. Don't want to get rejected. Man, look, I said, I got some other plans. What else you got? What you mean you got some other plans? I said, well, I ain't had nothing planned with you, but you made me think you was gonna be here. I said, I ain't never tell you nothing because I never told her that. He told them that I was gonna come. So I tell them, I gotta go pick up some bread, and then I got other plans. So then she really kept going, and I said, look, I got a date. Oh, she really got pissed off then. So they hang up the phone. I go home, and I go home and I don't know what I do, but let me see. 0304. No, okay, so I go home. What ended up happening with that situation, I think, because the friend was mad, the Mexican friend started hating on the Cuban girl. Trying to block and stuff like that. This ain't the end of it. Y'all thought I was the end. The Mexican girl shows up at my house. Not the same day. She shows up because somehow they must have found out. I think somehow she found out where I lived, or I think they dropped him off at my house one day or something like that. To re-up. She calls. I'm in the parking lot. You're in the what? She's in the parking lot. And I'm like, I didn't tell her to come through. My homie, he hits me. What you doing, DP? I'm chilling. Hey, I got something for you. She on the way. I said, what? She trying to holler. I said, bro, don't tell me you told this bro where I stay, or they probably know. I don't know where it was, but they pulled. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, bro, tell her no. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is too much. I'm not making this up. My mom says, hey, there's a black girl with a baby down here. I'm thinking, oh Lord, who is this? And I'm thinking to myself, like, I ain't rawed nobody out. So a black girl with a baby, it was kind of dark. So she looked black at night. She lets her in. I come down the stairs. It's the Mexican broad with a baby that's not mine. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, the baby's Mexican, you know what I'm saying? So I guess my mom, she opened up the curtain, not the curtains, but, you know, they got like something over the baby. And she said, well, it don't look like you. And now this is embarrassing because now you done came over here and my mom thinking, so now my mom's looking at me sideways like, you done had a baby and didn't tell me. You see what I'm saying? That's why she's wondering, like, okay, who's this girl? She's thinking that I had her come over. But now my mom's kind of looking like, because at first when she looked, and I could tell her the way she looked, she was like, okay, whose baby is this? So it was hella embarrassing. Right now it's funny as hell, but it was hella embarrassing because she's looking at me like, you had a baby with this girl and didn't tell me. But when she looked at the sheet, oh, okay, that don't look like you. She could clearly see this a Mexican baby. But the audacity that you have to show up at the crib unannounced. I didn't invite her to come over. I didn't tell her to come through. So, but now she in the house. I'm not going to kick her out. We go up to the room. And she sets the baby down. The baby's still asleep. She had like a Jeep or something like that. So I'm just like, you know, at this point, I'm just kind of like, yo, you know what I'm saying? So we kind of talking and this, that, and the third. And I get to a point where I'm kind of like, okay, since you here, I'm about to try to see what's going on. So she seems like she's, you know, and then I kind of think for a second. I'm just like, I didn't have no experience in this kind of stuff. I didn't know anything about this baby mama stuff. You see what I'm saying? I really did not know about. I didn't know about kids. Nothing like I knew I was a kid when I was younger, but I didn't know about none of this stuff. So this whole baby mama thing was just I was a green kid. I'm what 20 something years. I'm still green as hell. I'm like 5 years behind, 7 years behind. Just like a 40-year-old version behind, kind of, you know. So eventually she left. She hopped in her car and left. Y'all thought that this was the end. Y'all thought this was the end. You thought this was the end of this story. This story's long as hell. Somehow she gets in contact with me again. This must have actually been around maybe 04 or 05. It could have been. Maybe. Because eventually when I moved out my mom's house, I moved to the project in D building. I moved in the projects in D building. So now I gotta get some screenshots for this. So I might have to upload this and edit it. But in the description, I don't know how I'm gonna put this edit because I want to show you what they look like. So she calls me up and she comes to my house. I told her where I stayed. I don't think the baby was with her. She was with her mom or something like that. So she comes by the house. She comes by my apartment. And I just didn't know where this was going. I'm like, is this gonna go down, or is you just stalking me or something like that? So, you know, I think I had some liquor or whatever like that. And so I kind of lightweight aggressive. Like not aggressive like grabbing or nothing like that, but I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, you know, because at this point now I got an apartment. I can just call something through. She still just want to sit and talk and this like that. So I said, look, man, I'm about to go. So, you know, eventually she left. And that was the last time. Well, I think she texted me a couple other times, but I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, so, you know, and you know, the average dude's like, man, you didn't crack or you didn't try to. I'm like, man, I don't like Latin women to act white. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's it. That's all that really happened. I'm trying to think of another time that I was with. I got one more. Latinas. This is the last one. Same dude. West Side, of course. Now, this was the one that I was telling y'all about. So, I'm not sure what this probably was around. This had to have been kind of around maybe the same kind of years or something like that. So, we go to he meets some Mexican chick or something. So we go on the west side. I don't want to go over there either, but I ain't want to let him ride. So somehow we end up somewhere on the west side where there's like a McDonald's or something. I think there was. So I go out there with him. Now we get into his house. It felt like some training day shit. You got all these essays tatted up. And you know they members. They members for sure. So we walk in the door. It's just me and him. And there's some essays tatted up all up. You know, they look like, you know, they look like the ones kind of, you look like some training day kind of shit. So he talking to one of the girls or something. I think they go to a room for a little bit. They talk for a little bit, but it was such an uncomfortable that type of thing. They didn't tell us to leave, but you could kind of feel like it didn't feel like it felt like something else. You know what I'm saying? And so they drinking Jose Cuervo. I'm in the living room with all the essays by myself. So now they start asking questions. Where you from, Holmes? So I'm like, I'm from South Minneapolis. Oh, okay. Pyru, you from over south. So that's what they assumed. That's what they assumed. So I'm like, nah. Oh, okay. One of the Lokes. No. Oh. One of the Stones. so I'm like, no. Oh, okay. GD folk, Holmes. No. What are you? I'm like, no, I'm not nothing. Oh, no, you something. You something. Everybody's something. Everybody's something. So I'm trying to do the little accent and stuff like, hey, Holmes, you like to drink something, Holmes? So I'm like, I'm good. No, Holmes, come on my pad and offer you a drink. I had a drink with the homies. So they pour me a drink. I go ahead and drink it. I want a little more essay. Give him a little more. So they give me a little more. Now, you would have thought at that point, I'm like, I don't need them. Yeah, don't give him any more. That's all he's going to get. Or something like that. And I was like, okay. So one of them had a stun, one of them little stun gun things. So he's over there in the corner playing with it. And I'm like, man, what the hell they going? And so I'm sitting there thinking like, man, what the hell? Like, because I wouldn't have put myself in this predicament, not around all them. So they come out the room or whatever or something like that. I don't know what happened. Nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they were just talking or whatever the case may be. So I'm still talking to the essays a little bit. The vibe is real weird. So, you know, my homie, he's still talking to the girl, whatever like that. So I get annoyed. I'm kind of halfway lit. So I say, hey, where y'all got something to eat at? McDonald's. Right across the block. Or it was just a couple blocks. And I say, hey, bro, I'm about to get something to eat. I'm hungry. He's like, all right. So now, you probably wonder, well, why would I leave? He felt pretty damn comfortable or whatever, you know. So I didn't get the vibe that they weren't gonna try to do nothing to him or whatever. But you know, they not used to bring a black home. I know that. I don't know whose house that was. I really don't. And we shouldn't have been over there. But so I go. Then mind you, this the west side. This all Mexicans and everything. This all essays. So I walk in McDonald's. It's a bunch of essays up in there too. So I'm walking. I go to the register. It's a thick ass Latina up in there, thick as hell. She looked like she got some black in her, like far as her, you know. Her. So I'm talking to her, and let me get, you know, a Big Mac. Where you from? You know, she starts asking me questions, and I'm like, I'm from over south. She said, I've never seen you over here, you know. And so she's kind of, And then, you know, you cute and all this. And so I'm ordering. I said, well, yeah, what you doing over here? My homie is visiting somebody. She says, over there? And I'm like, yeah. She said, okay. And so now I'm like, well, let me get my shit to go. Like, cause I'm trying to get back. So now, since she's asking all these damn questions, I'm like, I ask her name. We talk a little bit. And I said, well, look, I gotta go. And so I say, do you want to exchange numbers or whatever? She started to, and then she kind of, you know, kind of leaned in a little bit, and she kind of looked, and she said, you know, my parents, you know, they won't accept it. I said, accept what? She said they won't, you know, they won't allow me, they won't let me, you know, date you or whatever like that. And she said, you know, she said, I like you. I wish maybe we could, you know, be on the low or something like that, or we could kind of talk without people knowing like that and whatever. I said, oh baby, I don't do that. I said, you know, if you gonna, you know, rock with me in public, it's gonna be public, because I'm not gonna hide you. So she's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? You know, I would like to keep talking to you or whatever like that. So I'm like, so I said, you know, what's this black shit about? Well, why not? She said, oh, you know, they don't do that. They don't allow it. I couldn't bring you home. I said, so you telling me that if I walk and meet your dad and shake that man's hand, he wouldn't even, you know? She said, it's not that you wouldn't have been a decent man. She said, it's just that we don't do that. So I'm like, well, how will we even be on the low or whatever? She said, well, you know, what they don't know, they ain't got to know. And I'm like, nah, because, you know, I may get to a point where I might want to come to your job or something like that. Or, you know, like if I come up here to see you or whatever like that. She said, well, nobody doesn't know that because they don't come pick me up. But so I could tell the way she looked. She was kind of like, damn, man, you know. But then with me, cause see, I tried to hit her with the, you know, I'm black, you brown, black and brown. I tried the black and brown coalition. That's way before I knew what I know now. So I tried to black and brown it. No, they wasn't having none of that black and brown shit. It's brown, no black. So go back, get my Big Mac, go back hollering, hey bro, we need to move around. You know what I'm saying? We out of bounds. So at this point, you know, I kind of, you know, I'm coming down on my little buzz or whatever like that. Hey, SA, let me get one for the road. We ain't got any more, Holmes. It's not enough for the homies. They got half a bottle. So I said, okay. I see what the game plan was. It was on some, I don't know. It was weird. So, you know, all right, y'all. So we leave, and I told him, bro, man, you be in some. There's another homie situation. I'm gonna leave that for y'all. I'm not gonna throw this in this story time. But it's these little weird situations and stuff. It always be like somebody else. I didn't really have a lot of problems by myself. So, you know, the only other issue where it was kind of weird at, it was, I'm trying to think where it was, but I don't even think that one's worth telling. I could in another, but that one ain't even worth telling because it wasn't a lot of money made. My thing is showing the hustle, how I moved around the city, where I was, anywhere I go, any story I could think of that revolves around getting a bag or doing a PC repair and stuff like that. Now, as far as like, it's so many different stories that I could talk about picking up a computer. So I think that's going to be another story time. There's a computer on the north side. This one was a little weird because I was working on a lady's computer, and I think her husband or her boyfriend, whoever it was, he was kind of mad that I fixed it because he didn't do it. And I understand. I get it. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of didn't like house calls that much, you know. So that's how that worked out. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this, and then I got another one. I'm hitting these back to back. I'm hitting all these stories for y'all back to back. So We gonna this might be a riding in the Chevy one. I might go ahead and upload this to the Google Drive and ride in the we gonna ride in the Chevy this. I'm gonna just go ahead and get the copyright for y'all. Like I say, I ain't trying to make no money on this shit, so I'm just gonna give y'all the copy. I'm just gonna ride in the Chevy for y'all.